I joined Luke Belmar's brother, Nate Belmar's biohacking and fitness program, Anime Shreds. Does it work? Is it a scam? Let's find out. So I've been interested in weightlifting, more bodybuilding style training since I was around 14 when I first got introduced to it. But I've been out of the gym right now for about 6 months due to a head injury I received. And at the time I'd actually been dieting to cut weight, and even though I wasn't actually able to train in the past few months, I decided just to continue this weight cut anyway, and I've managed to get fairly lean so far and cut a lot of body fat. But the downside of this combination of lower calories, no training, I did also lose most of my gains. But I've just started getting back into lifting in the last couple of days, so I've been training like 3 or 4 days again now, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better with the head injury and feel good enough to get back into it now that I've made a decent amount of recovery. So I decided to supplement my usual training with some of the knowledge that I will learn inside of this community and see if there's something that I don't know, or if he takes an alternative approach to the typical type of training and nutrition knowledge out there online. But I'm of course not a complete beginner, because I will obviously benefit off the muscle memory from the training I've done in the past, all those years of training. So hopefully I should be able to get back in shape a lot quicker than it would take for a beginner. And since I still kept a fair amount of muscle, hopefully I shouldn't be too far off. So I'm estimating hopefully it'll only take like 2 or 3 months to get back the original gains that I had before. And since I'm much lower body fat right now than when I was way bigger, hopefully I'll get some better results this time round too. Since last year when I started it, I guess you could call it peak bulk, I was around 235 pounds, which is pretty heavy. I'm around 6'3" or 6'4", I think around 6'3" probably, so that is still classified as overweight. But right now I'm around 174 pounds, I believe, the last weigh-in, so a lot lower. So this is going to be interesting. Now for a little bit of context, you might have seen one of my older videos. I am actually a member of Luke Belmar's Capital Club, which is actually quite a good private community. And because of this, I'm actually interested in what Nate has to say, because Nate, if you don't know, is actually Luke Belmar's brother. And even though he's more low-key and in the background, he does have a wealth of knowledge on all things biohacking, and he's known for his shredded physique. So first of all, to join, I had to obviously pay for the induction fee, which was around $22 a month at the time of joining, which honestly isn't actually that bad. And as soon as I got in, I realized this is actually a pretty serious community. There's a bunch of people just posting threads in there that are quite active, sharing the methods and just asking questions to Nate, who is also pretty active posting on there himself too. He takes quite a hands-on approach posting in the community, always in there posting updates. So there's a few different categories. So first of all, you have Mr. Belmar's data sets. This is where basically Nate does regular posts where he shares things like quotes, strategies, and just general personal anecdotes related to what he's preaching. Then there's Way of the Builders. So this is basically all about bulking and gaining weight to develop your physique. So if you're a beginner, you most likely want to start bulking. So this is usually where people start who are skinny or lower body weight. And then for anyone who might have been dieting for a long time, or maybe they're carrying too much weight, there's also a section called Way of Vitality, which is all about the dieting and nutrition side of things. Then we have Dojo meals and potions. This is where people share their favorite grocery hauls and things they've bought, their combinations for drinks and wellness supplements and meals on a budget. And here you'll find things like special teas and drinks, which Nate actually calls potions, which he does actually share some of his own recipes in, which we'll cover later. Now for everyone who's coming in for biohacking, since he doesn't really have a biohacking course in Capital Club, this is where you'll actually find it. So there's a section called Biohacking Alpha. This is basically kind of similar, but he talks about things like plants and crops and small things which will kind of act as a needle mover to making progress in your health journey removed from just training. Now the Dojo Wins channel in here is people showing off small wins. This could be in their training or the dieting journey, as well as just ones related to business or lifestyle. And of course, since Nate is a huge fan of anime, he always posts things about anime in his social media, and it is called Anime Shreds, right? There is a whole section in here related to anime memes where people just post stuff for fun. Now I do want to say, if there are actually any women watching this video, there is quite a lot of inclusivity also in this community. There's a woman's dojo section as well, and there's actually a whole bunch of active girls in there, so there's quite a lot of ladies posting there fairly regularly, so it's quite a diverse community, I would say. It's not really an all guys community like most of them are online, so I did think that was quite a positive thing. And then also you have the general chat, which is of course kind of like posting unrelated things to the other categories. So when you join, there is actually a welcome section. This is in the courses section we're covering right now. The onboarding video in here basically explains all of the courses and sections of the community for newcomers. Now the forbidden scrolls are kind of long form videos, and they have kind of like an AI storytelling approach to them with an accompanied written PDF file, which is actually there that you can download and view, which is actually pretty cool. It teaches things about food additives and processed items to avoid, and uses like a storytelling technique to make it more interesting and digestible to the younger audience that Nate's obviously targeting. And then after this is followed by the paths that you can select. So this is all dependent, obviously, like what we said earlier, if you want to start bulking or cutting and what phase in your journey you're actually on. These are mostly philosophical style videos, which are also quite similar, and they have an AI voice narrator, and I guess are mostly for people who haven't really been to the gym or started their health journey yet. So it just kind of makes understanding them a little bit easier with a storytelling style, which I kind of liked. And you can definitely see it's taken a big inspiration from anime, because it's like you're watching some kind of cartoon or something. Now, a lot of people probably will be interested in the shredding program, so let's first cover that. That's actually called the Way of the Vitality. This is basically for people who want to cut weight, and it first shows you how to calculate your calories, which is obviously for the weight loss, and it has an adequate macronutrient split. So it talks about proteins, fats, and carbs, and the right balance of them that you need, and also how you can leverage fasting to make dieting a lot quicker and more sustainable. The hero's mindset section of this basically goes through a set of philosophies. These are based on basically imagining yourself as the hero or embodying an anime style character as yourself to achieve your goals to become that dream character. So it's kind of like that philosophy where life is a video game or life is a fiction, where you're kind of embodying what you want to be, which I thought was quite an interesting psychological approach, because most diets, they don't really think about the psychology, they just think about cut calories, right? So I thought that was quite a good, interesting angle that we took. The macronutrients section, so this basically talks about the quality of water you consume, which you don't really tend to hear a lot about either. So it talks about avoiding tap water, for an example, the importance of protein and the quality of the source itself, such as eating grass-fed organic meats, which obviously where the animals have only consumed a certain type of food, as well as the importance of dietary fat and its role in both brain function and performance, and the calorie structure of each macronutrient itself. So it does dive quite deep into the theory side of things, and there's also multiple chapters in there too which do show training styles and routines, and also a segment where Nate basically talks about the utility of supplements and where they can be useful and why. But I think the habits and goal setting section of this community, where they have accountability, are probably at the core the most valuable ones for those who lack drive or perhaps the mindset itself to actually follow through with what's taught in the course. So if you're that type of person when you join, I definitely recommend taking a look at these sections. The Way of the Builder. So I didn't go into the bulking section because obviously I was just cutting weight at the time. It didn't really interest me to then put on more weight, so I thought, what did they know about cutting? Well, Way of the Builder course is very similar, but it's of course the opposite. It's bulking, gaining weight, and there's a lot of the same material in here, so I'm not going to talk about everything because a lot of it's just copied over, with the main core tenets being different. But the idea is basically the training methods and the diet principles are slightly different to the previous course, but you're meant to pick one of two of these based on if you want to bulk or cut body weight. So it's really dependent on where you are and what you actually want to do. Now, there's also sections for a whole bunch of other things on the other courses. So we have workouts, we have ab routines, additional workouts, things even from mobility exercises to make sure that you're stretched and flexible, information on maintaining joint health, and another whole standalone section based on mindset too. So of course, everyone probably joined this community for mainly the biohacking things and also the nutrition side of things. So let's get into the Dojo meal section. So this goes over some good complementary health meals for the nutrition plan that he sets out in this community, and it starts out with basically a big food list which covers a whole good list of proteins, carbs and fats, with vegetables you should consume, fruits and spices, and also what you should be avoiding, which may include some things which you probably thought were good for you. And it also does break down the whole macros based on if you're bulking and cutting too. So depending which path or way that you choose, it will actually talk about that here and how you can optimize it. But what I do like in this section, I would say, is that there's a whole lot of different options for breakfast, because there's a whole lot of diet plans online where they tell you to eat the exact same thing every day, and that's not good for most people. I mean, I find that to be quite easy, but for most people, they want to eat something different and mix and match things. So it's good to just show you some variants and options in here. And there is also a section for meals based on different meats too. So you have meats, and then you also have options for seafood. Maybe you're a pescatarian or you just don't eat meat. There's obviously alternatives for you. And also it shows options that vegetarians and vegans can have as well. So it is being fully inclusive for every type of diet that people want to follow in here, which I thought was quite nice. So it does give you options like salads and side options, and also sweets for those with a sweet tooth. It's not telling you to avoid everything. They're giving you alternatives too to help you stick to the new lifestyle. So it's not an all or nothing approach, which is also good. So it shows the way that he's preaching you to have this new lifestyle is actually quite sustainable. So overall, I would say this was probably the best section, because I joined the course mainly just to see what Nate actually eats, and also for the biohacking info itself, since I already do have the 12 years of bodybuilding training and a pretty good deal of nutrition knowledge that I've learned online over the years. So I wanted to know if he takes a different approach to what most of the gurus and trainers online have been preaching for years, and it seems like he kind of has a little bit of a different angle, but the main core strategies and core things are mostly the same. Dojo potions. So now we move from the nutrition side of things to kind of like the supplementary side of things. So Dojo potions is basically the section where he breaks down how to create those special biohacking drinks that you might see from his Instagram and viral social media reels on TikTok. And he talks about using certain herbs, certain fruits and ingredients, and he has different ones which he drinks during different periods of the day or different times of the day, or at morning or night time, and why he does that. Now in here, for people who don't really understand or who don't really make these drinks, because I personally don't drink these kind of things, it does have an ingredients encyclopedia there, and this tells you what they all are, and also it shows the benefits of what each of the ingredients actually gives. All in all, there's not really too much to say about this section without actually revealing all the recipes themselves. I will obviously have to censor some of the screenshots because I don't want to share too much, but it does have a great wealth of information here. Now I'm not sure what it actually looks like right now at the time of recording, but when I actually gathered all this information and followed the course in the past few weeks, the course Biohacking Basics, which I was probably the most interested in, was actually still coming at the time. I'm not sure if they started releasing content in there now, but it hadn't actually been released. But it seemed to be really promising, because I think most people will be interested in this actual part of the community. And I expect I'll probably maybe think about going back in the community later to see if he actually drops that one. But that's the one I probably had the most hype about, but unfortunately it hadn't been completed when I'd actually planned this video out. So all in all, I think Anime Shreds is a great community for beginners who don't really yet know much about training or nutrition. Perhaps they're on the start of their journey and they're just trying to learn those little seeds of information, and this is a great place to start, where it's all conveniently gathered together and served to you on a platter. I feel like I already have a fairly good grasp from my experience. However, Nate does take a very different approach to nutrition and training to what I'm used to and what I do, and I really like what he preaches. So I actually did learn quite a lot from this, especially with the potions and the biohacking methods, which I didn't know about. Now some of the things like the potions and the herbs and ingredients I did know about from my brother, who'd been doing those for quite a lot of years longer than Nate has been doing it. But Nate's potions and drinks are also quite interesting to learn about, and why he does actually drink them and consume those certain things. So it was still definitely interesting to learn about. Now beginners who haven't yet found their routine yet may find a lot of value in listening to Nate, because he preaches a healthy lifestyle, which is always a net positive, right? And he practices clearly what he preaches by the way that he looks. And I didn't really find him teaching anything dangerous, which is definitely a good sign, because some people online preach some pretty drastic measures. So I saw everything in here was quite safe when followed correctly. In fact, I also do like that he tells people to stay away from unhealthy foods as well, and also stay away from certain compounds and PEDs. He definitely says stay away from those, which I also like, because I think it's very respectable to follow a natural lifestyle, because that's always the best one. So this was an honest, unbiased review of Nate Belmar's Anime Shreds community. I'm not affiliated in any way, even though I may be in Capital Club and I do like a lot of what these brothers have to say. I don't know Nate personally, and I don't have any kind of affiliation to the community. I just joined it, so I thought I'd make a video on it to share my personal experience, because sometimes I like to just join courses and communities and learn from them, and it's always a great idea to then make content off the back of that and just give my 2 cents on what I actually learned and how I feel about it, and what kind of value you can expect to see inside if you decide to actually join yourself. There's no links below to join. I don't have any kind of affiliate links. I don't make any kind of commissions off this. This is just for people who are already searching on YouTube about this, who may find this video valuable. And if you did, make sure to like the video for the algorithm. If you want to see me join more gurus, courses and communities so you don't have to, and give my honest opinion on them and if they're good, or if you're interested in me sharing my knowledge on e-commerce and dropshipping from my real experience, because I just dropped a video a few days ago how I made $1 million in revenue with dropshipping in the last 8 months online. I shared my whole step-by-step strategy from step 0 all the way up to step 100, and I also showed you clear-cut verifiable proof that it's all real and I actually do what I preach and I'm not one of those fake gurus. So if you want to watch that video, go on my channel and watch it right now. I'll try and remember to put a link below. If not, you can check on my channel. All I ask you to do is please do subscribe, because we're going to try and hit 10k subscribers first, and then we're going to go for all the milestones, hopefully up to 100k maybe in the next year or two. So make sure to stay connected if you want more free value here. Nobody's sharing as much free value on this channel as I am, and I'll see you soon, hopefully next time, for another interesting experience. We'll see what that means.